There's a mess. So I know there's a lot of people that think that if they're not lying to their family, or if they're not stealing from their family, they're not robbing from them, they're not stealing their stuff, um, their addiction isn't that bad. Well, it is. It'll get there. 100% it will get there. Some people are lucky. Some people are lucky. Some people don't go through the same struggles. They're able to just go on a bender and then stop and no consequences. That wasn't my story. That wasn't my story. That wasn't my reality. None of that. Um, when I started using when I was a little girl, I was 11. I started out with friends, well, friends, just older people giving me drugs, giving me a plate, saying, "Here you go, here goes your line of dope," you know, giving you drugs. You don't ever worry about where's it going to come from, how are you going to get the money. Hi, Roger. Um, you don't have to worry about where's it going to come from, who's going to get, like, it's always there for you. I didn't have to worry about none of that. And then, you know, people don't want to share their stuff anymore because they are getting worse in their addiction also, and they want all of their stuff for their stuff. They don't want to. So then it causes you to, once you're addicted and you're going through withdrawal, causes you to start making some pretty bad choices. And my bad choices over 15 years a DJ in London, UK, it was very fun. But I bet it did become very messy, Roger. But DJ, I'm sure you had lots of fun and lots of partying. But once I started getting more in my addiction, by the time I was in middle school, um, my grandfather gave me a Jeep because I was doing so good in school. I was getting straight A's. I was like the best student, but I was in my addiction already. Since I had the vehicle, I would drive around friends to go break into houses. People were like, "You got the car, you don't have to do anything." Hi, Philip. Uh, you have the car, you don't have to do anything. You just wait in the vehicle and we'll go in there, we'll break into the houses, we'll get all the good stuff. And when we come running out, you get ready and you go. You're the watch out, you're the lookout, you're the driver. Mind you, I'm in middle school, I'm sixth grader. And so on this day, it's snowing really hard, and I noticed there's a vehicle that's just watching. And so when all my friends jump in the car, I take off. I'm a freaking child. I take off. It's raining, it's snowing. They start following us. So I go through alleys and everything. When I'm going through the alleys, I'm sliding. I don't know how to control a vehicle. I'm a freaking kid. Uh, I'm a freaking kid, and when I go through the alley, I crash into one of those electrical things that supply energy for the houses and everything in the alley. I crash into that, and my Jeep catches on fire. The Jeep my grandfather just gave me catches on fire. The whole engine catches on fire. Everybody in the back seat was able to get out. Me, my seatbelt was locked. I don't know why it was locked. I guess because I was just wrecked vehicle. The car that was chasing us took off, was no longer chasing us, and I'm stuck in the car and it's on fire. The whole front. Finally, I was able to slip out through my seatbelt. And when I get out, everybody starts coming out from their homes. I'm wearing shorts inside the freaking snow, crying like, we have to call the cops, because we have to call the firefighters, because if everybody's houses catch on fire, I'm gonna be in so much trouble. And so we call the firefighters. It was right on the street, and I'm crying in the snow. And people come out and they put a blanket on me because I'm a little girl crying in the snow with shorts on, cold. and my vehicle is on fire, and I'm thinking I gotta go back to the Jeep to get my grandfather's wallet out of there because I'm gonna get in trouble. You don't care about that damn wallet. Um, but so it progressed from friends giving me drugs, friends giving me drugs. It was free, didn't have to look for it, didn't need money, to now providing getaway like rides to friends to break into homes. We were getting lots of money like that. I was never the one going in the home, but I was just as bad, if not worse, you know? And after that, it got so bad to the point to where I met my son's father, my oldest son's father, and he would like go rob people that were already on drugs, men that were looking for prostitutes and stuff. And he would go rob these guys because he knew they had money. And whenever one day he came back home, him and his twin brother came back home, and they were like, we didn't get any money. We robbed this guy. He was looking for a girl, but he had no money on him. I was like, what do you mean he didn't have any money on him? How was he going to pay for the girl, you know? And they were like, well, I guess he was going to rob her. And whenever so I was so mad because I was like, y'all just risked y'all's lives, y'all freedom out there, and y'all came back with no money. You know, like my thought was very jacked up way of thinking. So I was like, you know what? This is me at 16. I was like, I'm gonna pretend like I'm a prostitute. I'm gonna pretend like I'm a prostitute, and I'm gonna go out there, and then I'm gonna bring the guys to y'all. But I'm gonna make sure they have money before bringing them to y'all. What? Freaking 16-year-old going out in the middle of the night to bars, clubs, these places, bringing men. Whenever the men would like pick me up, I'd be like, let me make sure you have money because I don't want y'all to rob me. You know, like what? And knowing what I'm gonna like, I'm like pretty much setting them up. It's fucked up. And so I would check how much money they had, and I would be like thinking to myself, is it going to be enough for me, my ex, and his twin brother? Because I want to make sure we have enough for all three of us to score, you know? And it would never, I would make sure it'd be a few hundred, make sure it would be enough money. And at first I didn't feel bad because I was like, well, I'm not the one hurting them. I'm not the one like robbing their money. Plus, these guys are freaking weirdos. They're picking up a little girl. No, you're a freaking weirdo. You know, you're robbing these men. And so I would ring them back, and then I would call my ex and be like, hey, we're in this place and the guys are right here. And then they would take their money. The last day I did that, it was so bad because the guy that they robbed, he was really high out of his mind, like coked out, that even though they were like telling him to give the money to them, he was not. He was like, no, even though they were like fighting with each other and they were beating him up and stuff, he was like, no, he was so high out of his mind, he didn't feel anything. And me, I usually ran back home. I wouldn't watch anything. Well, that day I stood there and I watched, and I was terrified. I was crying. I was like, please don't hurt him anymore. I was like, just leave him alone. You know, we don't need his money. We'll find another way. You know, I was crying, and they're like, get the fuck home. Go home. Stop being a crybaby. Like they were screaming at me, telling me to go home. And I'm like, please stop. And they weren't stopping. And thank God that the guns that they had never had bullets in them, because I would always tell them to like don't put bullets in them because one day you might have to fire it and you'll cause death to go up to murder. You know, it would turn to murder, and that was a thing I was not trying to a line I was not trying to cross. And so they're like, go home, like screaming at me, and I finally run home because I was so like terrified. I had froze for a while and I was watching them and I was like freaking the fuck out. So that was the last time I did that. They got a lot. They got so much money from that guy. I guess that's why he was also putting up a fight, because he was a drug dealer and he was selling a lot of coke. So he had lots of money. He had a lot of money on him. Like, I think between us three, we each got like $2,000, $3,000 a piece, plus drugs, plus other stuff we were able to sell. And but that was it. So I ended up, with the money that we got from that, we ended up calling people that we knew. We ended up being able to purchase drugs. And that's whenever my journey into selling drugs started as a 16-year-old. I'm missing all of these. Whereabouts in London? Northeast bars, clubs, pirate radio, gotcha. Lived in Haraway before I moved to the US. Oh, that's cool. I didn't read the things because I know I was gonna get distracted and never say my say the story. I don't even know if y'all are still in there. I wanted to Harrow a couple of days ago. I moved out of London 4 years ago. Now I love the quiet life. I bet. I don't know if I would love not living in the city. I'm not sure. But so at 16, I started selling drugs. I always made sure that it was just friends, like people that I knew that were using and that couldn't score from other people. Their people didn't answer. I would shop around, make sure that my stuff was good. Supposedly, like, how the fuck do you know if it's good? It gets you high, but you don't know what's in it. You never know what's in it. So I just want to say that just because you're not stealing from your friends, your family, you're not causing harm in that way. You're not like going into your mom's room and stealing money from her. You're still fucking bad. Like, it still gets worse. It still progresses. The beginning stages of your addiction, it never just is like that. It's where you're starting. You still have your long journey ahead of you, especially you're progressing your addiction, you're progressing how you use it, you progress how at first it feels like when you first use drugs, you're like, oh, it's a warm hug and you feel like you can take over the world and you can do anything. You no more are have social anxiety, you no more are depressed, you no more are anxious, more like now you can talk to people. Now you want intimacy. Now you don't care if people, you can, you know, now all of these things. But no, it doesn't feel like that forever, because then now this drug is in your head telling you that you need to support it. You need to get more. You need to, like, now it's your everything. No matter what. It's your everything. They don't care how you supply the drugs. Addiction now is your everything. And those feelings of you can take over the world and shit, it don't stay like that. Because now the self pity, like all those feelings of, oh, you're a piece of shit. What are you doing? Like, what kind of person are you? You did this and that, and you shouldn't, like, all those feelings start creeping up on you. It doesn't, the beginning stages of addiction, the beginning stages of using don't always stay like that. It don't always feel like fucking rainbows and sunshines. That shit ends very quickly. Very, very quickly. And you'll start being the worst of the worst. I started just snorting it and stuff, and then I started injecting it. And once the injection started, the IV use started, it crumbling down like this. Oh, it came back up. It started to ruin my body. Started having scars. I have scars from head to toe. I have scars. I don't like to go swimming. Don't like to go swimming because you gotta show your body for that. And my scars are very bad because I didn't care. Like, I didn't care about hurting myself or abscesses or uh, if it was a miss or not. I just wanted it done. I'm hoping that this can either cause someone to not want to use in general, or cause somebody to think that, hey, she was freaking horrible, she was bad. And that was just my beginning first few years of addiction. That was not even my whole I didn't stop until I was 27. Trust me, it got worse. It got freaking worse. It got so much worse. And it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better as long as you're still trying to find your fix. But once you start looking to get into recovery, once you're able to make a meeting, you find like-minded people that can help you, it can get better. It can get better, and your whole life can change. You'll start to feel everything once you're clean. You'll start to feel everything, but it's better to feel everything than the not feeling everything. You're putting a band-aid on and freaking wreaking havoc on your freaking life. You just have to work through it. You have to work on yourself, and it's going to take a lot of time, but you have to do it if you want to actually stay clean. I'm continuing to work on myself, but I know some people think that they're not that bad and they're okay with using, and they're not like other people, and they're not selling their body, or they're not stealing from their family. Okay, what does that mean? That don't mean anything. Just because you're not selling your body doesn't make you less bad. You're probably doing other shit, or it can probably lead to that. I just wanted to do this live stream. Thank you for watching.